I can't do this. This is Star Trek Discovery, a show that makes me cry after seeing a tree. Well, everybody, it's Flobo Boyce's Commander's Long, the unofficial Star Trek post show. We are on the USS Postshow, or is it the USS Recap? I don't know. We had an argument with my co-partner today. My host, my captain, even though he says he can't be captain because the ship will be doomed. John Weber, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Flobo, I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Man, I'm so glad to be first.
Yeah, man. What an embarrassing fight that we had on Twitter. I think like it was 3 or 4 people witnessed it.
Oh, it was like a Lower Decks episode. Like, if I'm on this ship and you're on that ship, who's flying the plane? But we're not alone. We're being joined by a man that I guess we were together on a comedy competition back in my hometown. I was performing for Preville in New York, and I won, even though they couldn't give me the prize because I was leaving the next day. But it's okay, because this guy should have won. Give it up for Joshua Postel, everybody.
Hey guys, what's going on? What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Man, this is Commander's Log, man. We want to deputize you as commander when it's all said and done.
Absolutely.
Hey, no problem. This is going to be the freakiest threesome in the galaxy.
Hey, as long as I go first, and I don't really care what happens after that.
How could you not?
Hey, someone once asked me what my favorite position was. I was like, easy. Me on top of someone else in the room.
Oh, I thought you meant like easy, whatever that position may be. But I'm so glad you're here. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope /Twitter, welcome. And if you're on Twitch at twitch.tv/FloboBoys, hit me with a like and subscribe. John Weber,
yes, sir.
To me, man. We're 3 episodes in. How you feeling?
How did they? I was trying to think of this earlier. Like, I can't remember seeing the previous 2. The process of watching the previous 2 seasons. Thank you for making me captain of this creaky old garbage scow. Even though you're clearly the one who gets everything done, but which is very Starfleet, I guess.
The Riker of it all.
Exactly. I am just so touched by this show. I am so I am so emotionally reached by this show, which for a suburban white man is quite a thing.
Can't relate.
Yeah. I was taught to be emotionally withholding. This show is destroying that.
Yes.
And my God, so many. I was crying like in the 2nd minute of this episode.
Okay,
Did you?
No shame in that.
Now I heard you mention tears. Am I the only one?
It was a treat for me. But Joshua, are you a guy who cried at the Star Trek Discovery?
Once in a while, like when they reunited with Burnham, that was great. That was just great.
Just shattered me.
That was like, it's corny, it's cliche, but yeah, it was great.
I'm gonna start counting Tilly hugs because.
Tilly's
there were like 3 great hugs
great.
by Tilly in this episode. You like her too, right, Joshua? It's not just me.
Oh yeah.
He's a fan. He's a fan. Well, I want to say that, like, for the whole reuniting the crew with everyone, like it was cool. In that right before that, Burnham was about to be okay with not seeing the crew. She's like, well, this is my life. Hey, what's that? So I'm almost sure that will play later on, but yeah, that moment having Georgiou in the background like Batman, just watching everyone hug themselves. Really cool.
Yeah, the evil Terran Batman.
Right.
You just know she's gonna do some messed up shit this year.
Yeah, kill first, vengeance later.
This is amazing that we have this wild card in Georgiou. I mean, she becomes the Deus Ex Machina in this episode, and well earned. I mean, I ain't arguing with it because we haven't had this kind of anti-Federation person as one of the only members of the Federation left. It's pretty incredible what we're watching.
Yeah. I like the fact that Georgiou has almost become like, in a good way. I don't want to trash it, but it's very like an exposition thing as far as the undercarriage of Michael Burnham's changes. She's thinking more like a savage, a courier, and Georgiou is the one that explains it to us. Us people going like, why is Burnham acting like that? Because Tilly is right. Burnham does seem different.
Well, Burnham by necessity had to. There's no
Right.
federation. There's nothing.
Right. She's out there. She's living that privateer life. She's living that sort of. She's not a pirate. They make very clear. They actually have a couple of pirate references in this episode that are funny, including the aye captain, and then just one eye. We're not pirates.
It's funny, backstage news, when I was giving Josh an update of today's show, I did the same thing. I was like, I because I'm a nerd. I'm an absolute
That's just gonna be one of those like
we're all nerds here,
jokes.
guys. Come on, I think we're all nerds here.
Yeah. So, Josh, before I ask you my next question about today's episode, I want to know a bit more about your love for Star Trek, because I am new to this. Discovery is my first flavor, if you will. Let's a little bit background on what you know, what you like, your favorite captain, if you will.
Okay, this is gonna take a while. One of my buddies in high school got me into it, and I was into it, but not hardcore. And then my second year of college, we were talking about it, and then we were at his house and we were just watching it for hours and hours and hours, and I was like, okay, you got me. We started with the original series films. And then it just worked from there. And then I started watching Next Generation, Voyager, DS9. I liked it, but I wasn't a huge fan. I know I'm gonna get
No, I'm just kidding. It's totally fine to have a preference.
I'll make up for you. Yeah,
I know
I'm one of the biggest DS9. Yeah, I'm one of the biggest.
Flayed for that. It was one I never really. I'm probably just gonna have to binge watch it one weekend because
it takes all kinds, man. It takes all kinds because of the groups that I'm in that I joined just for this show. By the way, I see so much caping for Voyager. Oh my God, I can't tell you how much I don't like Voyager. It would take forever for me to tell you. But DS9, that's where I live. That's my favorite Trek. Next to Disco, because I have to say, I think this is it for me. I think I'm ready to marry this one.
This is good. This is gonna get good. I think this and Next Generation and the original series for me.
Yeah. Like all neck and neck in terms of creating the universe and creating great characters and great stories. But I really love the fact that and I maybe say this too much, Flobo, tell me if I do, but I feel like a lot of fans work on this show, and that really shows.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of shows like The Simpsons and even Saturday Night Live, because I guess Saturday Night was a better example because it's a multiple genre type show because it's comedy and action that it's been around so long. Now you have second and third generation people working on something they love. It's become a part of their culture. And as a creator, that's the biggest love of them all, to create something that would last long before you're dead and becoming sand of the earth. But Josh, I'm sorry, your favorite captain was, again, I forgot. You said
probably Picard.
I see.
Yeah.
Well,
Probably
TNG Picard. Picard, I didn't even like that much. But TNG Picard was
Yeah.
not making this. I'm trolling you, bro. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He's making you fight for it, Josh.
He's gonna have the fight.
Moving back to Discovery, because I don't want to get choked out on my own show.
Okay.
So it seems the big MacGuffin in this episode is dilithium, and how it is essentially a red flag to everyone around that the ship Discovery is not a part of this time. And I love the fact that we're probably jumping ahead a little bit, but when they make contact with Earth, it's a whole different Earth. And that ends up being the big conflict of this episode. John Weber, walk me through this, man. Dilithium is all kinds of gangsta in the future.
Dilithium has become what fuel is in the Mad Max movies. It just gets you forward to your next fight for more fuel. And it's literal. And as I always love to point out, the animated front of the episode credits, they always tell you a lot in those. And you see like the little red crystals just floating through the screen. Yeah. Because that's it. That's what everybody in this time period is looking for, is more dilithium. And there was a period when dilithium was destroyed all at once. So anything that's been mined since then is more precious than gold-plated latinum.
Fair enough.
To put it in dork terms.
Dork. No, I'm all about that. Josh, we get a little bit more insight about the burn and what that lithium means, or how that played a role in the burn. Is this a satisfied conceit for you, being a long-term Trek fan, about this idea?
I think I'm satisfied with it. I think it's in a way kind of, you know how like they say Star Trek is always trying to reflect the modern world.
Yeah.
And
allegories galore, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, true.
When I saw the thing about dilithium, I was like, oh, okay, fuel running out. Sort of like John said, Mad Max. Sort of, you're getting fuel just to get to the next shit show, the next disaster. That's it. That's really all it is. And like you wonder, like how far off are we from that, because we still can't get our butts off oil.
Yeah. Yeah, that fossil fuels are still running politics. They're not necessarily running the people, but they're running what the people live under. And so, yeah, here we are with this dwindling resource that we're all going to be fighting over as time goes on, unless we get, something going on. I don't know, a Green Deal. I don't know. It's a new Green Deal. I don't know.
Well, I won't stop until all my cars have sales. That'd be kind of cool. Just go down the road that way. I was kind of okay with it. I know the burn, it being the big mystery, it was kind of like, oh, this could be kind of cheesy. Not in a bad way. Not like I won't watch it because I'm all in. But it could be the one thing where it's like, I don't know. But the idea of this thing going inert and then that causing just this mass destruction. It was a war no one saw coming. And I don't know. I think I'm on board with that because of that, we're seeing what tendrils of Starfleet and the Federation are still existing, at least in my opinion, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about Next Generation, we were introduced to a world where resources were not something that people fought over or were struggled for because we had replicators. And over the years, we find out that replicating dilithium is very difficult and it takes a long time. It's very complicated, as well it should be, because it's such an important thing. So we're at a point now where replicators are not running the show. They're not providing everybody. There isn't a federation that is independently wealthy. It's a struggle. The struggle is real in the future.
And here's I think it'll be all utopia.
You can't keep them. You can have a utopia, but you can't keep it.
That is actually pretty deep.
You really never can. It never happens. Every time you try, it goes bad.
You're telling me utopia doesn't exist, Josh?
I hate to be sort of that Carlin guy, but it's like, nah.
Hey, there are worse things. I mean,
I know.
No one ever wants to be a Flobo guy. Trust me. So, actually, you're a Carlin guy.
I want to be Flobo guys. Cut that out.
Don't lie to me.
How dare you? How dare you?
Before I move on to my next question, gotta pay them bills. Look, Commander's Log is part of the New Amsterdam Entertainment Network. Know more about that from newamsterdam.com. But want to give a shout out to the special people over at Geek Renaissance. Look, holidays are coming up. You have significant others. You want to make sure you're down with the Geek Squad. Geek Renaissance is where you want to go at geek.renaissance.company.site or at Geek Renaissance on Instagram. They have cool earrings and keychains and baubles. You got to check it out at Geek Renaissance. John actually is going to make an order right now after the show.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And
don't worry, I will cover John's purchase after the end of the show.
Well, you know something? I got to get my shopping started, and I know my wife, who is such a geek, and she loves this stuff too. I know I can find her some good stuff there, so I'm going to check out Geek Renaissance.
Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate that. Joshua, let me ask you a question, Joshua. You are a purveyor of the stand-up comedic arts, like how we are, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And have you headlined before?
Oh, I've headlined a few times.
Well, the first time you headlined, how'd you feel?
It was wild. It was like, oh shit, I'm actually doing this. Damn. It was that just rush of, I'm trying to put it was just this rush of just, oh my God, this is it. This is what it's about.
That's what you've been working for.
Even if you're not on a major stage, it's not a festival. It could be an online Zoom show, and you're high, and they're letting you headline. That's great.
Yeah. You know who else had that feeling? Captain Saru, y'all. He's a captain. It's official. Ganglia gang. What? He made it. He made it. I was so happy. I was so happy, man.
I had a feeling at the end of last season he was going to be the captain.
Me too, but I thought something was going to swerve. You know what I mean? But wow, Captain Saru. John Weber. Let me ask you a question. It could be something, but I want John's opinion first because we were big Saru guys.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel when he got the title from Burnham? And it wasn't even a fight or a discussion. She was like, it's yours.
Oh, not only was that like an early sort of strike in the episode, like, oh, he's the captain, and she's not accepting the number one position. She's not accepting commander. And like, we get through the episode. It is what it is. It's a great episode. And then at the end, she says, I would be proud to be your number one. And again, this old man cried because that's what I love to see. They acted like a family, but they're also a crew. And I need to see that too. I'm a big fan of Starfleet. So I need to see these Starfleet moments. And she's a wild card. She's always been a wild card. She's going to continue to be a wild card. And he's sort of holding the line. He is very much a captain. He is very much a Picard kind of a captain, too.
Yes.
Which I respect very much.
What do you say, Josh?
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with John. I do think he is a Picard kind of a captain. And I think he's just getting his captain's legs. I have a feeling he's going to have some conflicts. Because you're going to have Burnham and Giorgio and Book sort of stirring the pot and doing all kinds of stuff that really would be way outside Starfleet regs in the 23rd or the 31st century. I don't care what year. And supposedly there is still something of Starfleet left somewhere.
Yeah. Right. He's going to be trying to hold the line, and they're going to be breaking out of restrictions whenever they can, because we're in an unprecedented time. We don't know how Starfleet or the Federation can fit into this time. We don't even know if it can.
Yeah.
Here's my question, and this is kind of a monkey wrench question, but do you think we're going to stay in the future? Do you think this is it from now on, or are they going to go back and rejoin their original timeline after this season?
That's tricky. I thought no, but then I said to myself, wait a minute. Burnham's mother is out there with the other time suit. Somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not, that thing is sitting somewhere. They could, but the thing is, there's no, how come, they never, how could they go back to their own time?
Right. I mean, is this how we go forward?
With this, I think they may be stuck there.
Yeah.
I think they could be stuck there. You talk about the sphere data, you're afraid of control. Yeah. You're afraid of all sorts of things. And Discovery was stricken from all official records.
Right. Yeah, that's not a small. Yeah.
That's not a small thing to overlook.
Absolutely.
Could they? Maybe.
Right.
But, like I said, the wild card is Burnham's mother with the other time suits. She's still out there.
That's right.
I'm thinking.
And they have the schematics to build it if they really wanted to.
Right. Schematics. That's a SAT word. I'm thinking cake and eat it too. I agree with you, Joshua. I don't feel they will go back because behind the scenes, everyone's complaining about them being in the timeline. Inside the show, control is that much of a liability. But I know Star Trek, at least very, very little, because I watch a lot of those little shows. But all the Star Trek I've seen, I know they're going to give us an episode where they go back in time, whether by a dream sequence or holodeck or alternate mirror planet or a window, and to give you what it looks like without it, just to be like, ha ha ha, you're stuck and lost and feeling of loneliness and emptiness. I just know it.
There is always an episode for every series where they go back to some other time. Maybe it doesn't happen so much in Voyager, but because I'll just cut through it. There's always some episode where you see them wearing 20th century clothes.
Yeah.
There's always some episode where they're wearing some, zoot suit walking down, Main Street of some city.
He's like, not my Main Street. Like, so defiant. That's that bull crap.
I need to find them for you so you can watch them, Flobo. But the DS9 episodes where they go back into Benjamin Sisko gets these visions where it's 1950s New York, and
that was actually a very good episode.
And there was like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah,
and all the actors in DS9 who normally wear makeup are playing parts where they're not wearing makeup.
Save the budget that way.
It's fascinating to see these guys, not having to do makeup acting for a change. It's just really interesting. I think you're right. I think there will be some, and maybe you're right. Maybe it is a holodeck thing. Maybe there's some reason why it's not part of continuity. And I tend to think you guys are right, because I know that every time I watch a making of thing, they're always talking about Discovery is finally creating its own canon. It's out from under all the previous storylines.
Yeah. Out of the storylines, definitely building those own relationships. Like, let's talk about Burnham and Booker, right? A year has passed. I would think they had a relationship, but Book seems very adamant when Giorgio was grilling him that we're not talking about this. They seem to have a good chemistry together.
Because this may be the evil Giorgio, but she's still somehow, you almost think maybe linked in some freakish way to Prime Universe Giorgio.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
They share a certain trait, mothering trait, because they both were mother figures to Burnham.
Absolutely,
and
they do. They both love Burnham.
She knows Burnham. She's like, don't bullshit me.
Well, it is kind of funny because in the opening sequence when Burnham was doing her personal log, she goes, "I found a friend." And you're like, I mean, it'd be cool if they said that they weren't going to do that.
It's like, I found a friend and it wasn't the cat.
Yeah. That's Discovery After Dark, man. I don't know what show that is. That's CBS all access.
Oh, dude. I mean, how about the fact that that Book is like, so anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So comfortable
shoulders.
With each other. And that's good to have. So I'm kind of.
He's got to be tired. When he first meets her, he's like, first he's pissed, and then he's probably tired of like, I'm tired of putting myself in a random alien or some kind of holographic fuckbot program. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you definitely watch the After Dark version. Like, what?
This is the 31st century OnlyFans, bro.
Okay, yeah.
Shit.
Sign me up, bro. I'm looking at 2020 girls all like wrong.
I would spend all my money if this cast had OnlyFans. I would be spending so much damn money. I just want to
OnlyFans version.
I just want to see the hair montage on.
Yeah, you're gonna get us all canceled.
No, it's like in the beginning of the episode where she's doing that voiceover and she's telling us how she's gotten through the year, and we see her hair go from that really short Grace Jones kind of deal and just get into this big gorgeous head of hair. I just
Tilly
love
was all
that.
about it.
Tilly's she got a good head of hair too. This is a very hair centric.
This is very gorgeous hair centric, especially Tilly's red hair. Ooh,
I feel attacked.
Right?
Stop talking about this hair stuff. I feel excluded. No, I'm just kidding.
No, Josh. Actually, you missed last episode. I was all about Detmer. I just have this thing for Detmer. She's just this damaged redhead. I don't know what's going on with me, man.
Hey, she almost got through his face with that command in the last episode, right? She was all like, "Yo, you're crazy. This was totally a bad thing." And he's like, and then Shaken had to jump in and was like, ready to go.
Like, Detmer, do it.
Yeah. So I wonder what's going on with her and her injury. I know with
her injury. And notice the injury was on the side of that implant.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be some issues. There's going to be trauma. You're going to see a lot of drama.
Is it mechanical, you think, or is it psychological?
I feel like they would hint if it was mechanical, but they already said she doesn't have a concussion, you know?
Right. Doctor declared
this is going to be emotional with maybe a little mechanical, but it's going to be a lot of emotional because you did leave your entire life 900 years behind you.
Right.
You and everybody else on that ship.
Deal with it, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, get over it.
and we know from season 1 too that she does hold grudges. Like it took her a while to stop hating Burnham. And that's realistic. I respect that. Very realistic if you know redheads.
I don't actually know any. Do I know any?
Redheads, I have a friend who's a redhead, and he can be
a stereotype. Good to know.
Yeah, it's a stereotype, but he can be. Yeah.
Two redheaded sisters.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes so much more sense about your wrestling career. It really does. Because he was a redheaded stepchild when he wrestled. All right, so anyway, let's talk about people with prickly attitudes, because I was kind of put off at first by Adira, the young, I guess, member of the Earth Defense Force. Well, the Earth Defense Force in a whole has the most prickly reception, but Adira has a really cool twist, because it turns out that she is a Trill symbiote, but she's human, and 2, because I watched DS9, there's no tattoos in her skin. What's going on, Joe Weber? What's up?
Well, traditionally, the race that is matched with Trills does have the, let's see, Dax is the symbiote. So they do have the leopard spots. And I always wondered, like, do they put them on one by one, or do they have like a wheel that they run? I always wondered about that.
Wheel me. Ready.
Like, this used to take 2 hours, but now we just use a roller.
Car wash.
But that is the specific race that does match up with the symbiotes. And the fact that now, let's see, so Trills are the race with the dots, I believe. And symbiotes are symbiotes.
Okay.
Right. And this is an Earth girl. And did she say she was 16?
Yes.
So there, I felt I should stop watching.
Yeah, it was weird because, again, I don't know much about the canon of the Trill race. Hey, I got that late. Hey.
No, but I'm serious. Look, I'm an old man, and I'm like, wait, you've got like this tiny little teenage girl? Okay.
Well, I was going to say that. Well, in DS9, you have to be an adult to agree or to apply to be matched with.
Oh, it was a big deal. Yeah, like you had to be number 1 in your class at Harvard just to be considered to be a symbiote.
But now it's just any willy-nilly human can get it. I feel that's kind of messed up.
Well,
the thing I don't get.
Go ahead.
Sorry. The thing I don't get is if Earth is so bloody xenophobic.
Yeah.
And like you can't get in.
Yeah.
Or out.
No, that's a good point.
How did she? How?
Well, at one point she was known as Admiral Senatal, which would be Federation affiliated. I'm not sure that's any kind of matter. If they understood that part of her history, or his history, than to her history. I'm not sure.
It's a story they're not telling us yet, and I don't know if we'll ever hear it. But yeah, there must have been a Trill who had the symbiote, and the Trill was dying, and they had to move the symbiote. This is what happened with Ezri Dax in DS9.
DS9, yeah.
They have to move the symbiote over to someone, so they choose this young girl with the short hair. Again, very similar to Ezri, by the way. This like, you found a woman who looks like a 16-year-old boy. Okay.
Well, I think
not sure what boxes we're checking off here, but yeah, all right.
Well, just to give a little bit of backstory, this season of Discovery, not to put spoilers, but Adira is played by the series' first non-binary actor. So I think that's kind of the appeal or the attempt here. She's supposed to be not supposed to be, but she is non-binary.
I gotcha.
But I thought it was kind of interesting that the idea was she was scoping out this Federation sergeant. She was legit enough for her to join, where it's the only starship we've seen. Like, there's only 3 starships available. Like, would I just like hop on the bus as quick as I can? Like, why would I go through the trouble of sabotage and deep inspections and get into the tubes? What do you
When
think?
did she join that group? When she was like 10? Like, how did we?
There's some stuff about Earth when you see these guys in action. You're
Stuff
like,
about Earth.
what the hell?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, and that's actually a great feeling because it does appeal to the politics of today, which is this isn't the America that I thought we'd have when I was growing up.
No,
I thought by the time we got to
exactly.
2020, we'd be in the future. We wouldn't be in some destroyed version of the 1950s.
That's true. Adira is part of the Earth Defense Force, so I should say, I'll make sure I get this correctly. The United Earth Defense Force, led by Captain Nadoya. Like, again, I wasn't expecting that. Almost every movie ever made, Earth is there, pristine, virgin borders, fly in. But seeing turrets at the border of Earth, my goodness. No, Josh, let me ask you this first. Like, how did you feel seeing that in this episode?
That was upsetting.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, total point to look at where we are. This is us now.
Yeah. Isolationist, cut off
xenophobic, racist as fuck.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No.
I'm too old. I lost it. I had something.
Well, the point I have to say that there's probably someone sitting on a couch somewhere watching that and going, beat me over the head, why don't you? This is too on the nose. But do you think that was, or do you think that it was totally valid?
I think that was totally on the nose. And that was so upsetting because every Star Trek, even in lower decks, you see the shot of the massive space docks, all the ships around star bases. When Discovery left Earth at the end of season 1, you saw the shot of the space dock that you saw in the movies, but you saw it under construction. Mm-hmm. The moment I saw the preview on TV and you saw the ship flying in, you saw Earth, the ship flying on the lower part of the screen, I was like, uh-oh, something's not good here. There should be orbital facilities. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Orbital facilities.
And I caught the thing that I lost, which is this freak out of imagine the Federation, imagine Earth leaving the Federation. Like, what?
Yeah. Headquarters, forget that. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it the seat of the Federation by the time we're watching Trek? But
yep.
So now we're looking at an Earth that was like, nope, we quit. We cut off all connection to this greater, higher angels organization. And we're just this fortress now. Very depressing.
I got to do it. But allow me to be an advocate for the United Earth Defense Force. And I don't really mean this. I'm just doing this for this debate here. But like, you have this idea of a federation of Starfleet and the rules and peace and discovering and learning. And let's be real, the Federation track record is not spotless. No. The Starfleet have caused or even involved in so many wars and conflicts, even in lower decks, which is supposed to be a cartoon, something that happened. Why not lean to a more take our own guns and have our own militia? Why not lean ourselves into our own paramilitary force? Earth is number one. We are the center of the universe. No, the planet supports life. I'm just kidding about the last one. But what's wrong with having a United Earth Defense Force? If you can't be a part of this giant super federation conglomerate of planets, why not look for our own first?
It makes sense, except for one thing, and maybe you guys can clear this up for me, because maybe I'm just confused about this. But in the future, the most precious thing is dilithium, as we've been discussing. But Earth doesn't have any dilithium. You have to mine that in space. So Earth is basically cut off with very little resource. I mean, they have some, but they don't have a ton.
Yeah, Earth has some, and what they are having, they're getting rated by when, or at least attempted to be rated by when. So that might be, that's why it's so important and all that.
Yeah. I mean, I get, you're cornered, so you build walls and you get your guns out. I totally get that. We're all preparing for the zombie apocalypse. We all know how we're going to do.
Yeah.
We are?
I have so many great ideas for the zombie apocalypse. You guys ever want to know? I'll be happy to be in your crew.
What is the one thing I should know right now?
You need rubber bands, because zombies are going to walk into your rubber bands, and then it's going to go, and then it's going to shoot them away.
Oh, so they're Hanna-Barbera zombies. Okay.
I like to think in terms of, Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, Coyote. I like to think. Here's another thing. Like zombies don't know how to avoid things when they're walking. So here's what you do. You lay out a bunch of boards that have nails in them. And they step on the boards with the nails, and now they can't get around because they got these giant skis on.
It just turned into a Yogi Berra cartoon, Yada, yada, yada.
It's Zombie Apocalypse Hanna-Barbera edition.
I have no idea what's going on.
We have to stop assuming zombies can avoid stupid things. That's why my stupid things are going to save us.
My last words on this planet will be, John Weber lied to me. Oh.
Eventually, rubber bands fall apart. I'm fine. And then I have one last plan, which is if I do get bitten by a zombie, I am getting as fast as I can down to Party City, and I'm going to put on a clown outfit. I'm going to scare the hell out of people until they blow my brains out.
Wow.
Zombie clown. Zombie clown. The zombie version of it.
Do you want to be just a zombie, or do you want to be super duper zombie? A super scary zombie? I think zombie clown is the way to go.
Who wants balloon tricks? What are you doing? Let's talk about zombies here. Let's talk about Wen. Wen is a guy. He's a big bad of this episode, which kind of comes late in Star Trek fashion after we've done the whole reuniting and diplomacy stuff. But diplomacy is the operative word here, because perhaps kind of quickly and ham-fistedly, Wen is dispatched and he has some own drama. Josh, walk me through your feelings about Wen, what he wants, and what he stands for.
What do you want? What does he stand? Look.
Like, what do you like?
Again,
what do you like about him?
Again, this is the politics just hitting you. The world just hitting you over the head as you watch this. This is almost. It's almost out of H.G. Wells. It's like Earth is the Eloi, and the Morlocks are the down below. Think about it. He looked. He looked like shit. He looked terrible. He looked all haggard and starved and it's the allegory that just keeps knocking you over the head.
Oh, you got that crap load of allegories. Allegories just slapped me in the face.
I was like, could they fling it at me any faster? I don't think the shields can take it.
But here's the question I asked them, because we all can agree that story was a parable for something else. But what was that? What was your mind going to first? Because I did not think Morlocks when I saw that.
I was thinking that. I was also thinking, 1% versus everybody else. I was thinking a lot of things.
Okay.
Right. You got to militarize
here.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting
the
at,
government
John,
versus workers.
Yeah. No, but what did you think, John?
Oh, what was incredible about it was I like the show so much that I didn't complain at all in my head when the we need to talk to this alien with the big scary black manta mask from the Aquaman movies.
Yeah,
we need to talk to this guy, and he's so, why has he got to be a black manta?
He's a black dude.
I was
right
like,
on. What? Oh, but anyway,
go.
No, it just reminded me of Happy Days, because it's like he's so scary, and then Giorgio basically kicks him and takes his helmet off, and we realize he's actually just a broken down regular human. And it just reminded me of like the jukebox isn't working, but then Fonzie hits it with his elbow, and all of a sudden it's playing 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock rock. It's like, what a Deus Machina there. That was so fast and so hard. On the other hand,
That was like that was the Scooby Doo version of Starfleet.
I hadn't thought of that.
He's just like, Austin Powers going, "It's not a woman, it's a man."
Yeah,
it's not a monster, baby. Yeah. And what was great about it was the guy, Wen, is played by Chris Heyerdahl, and I'm sitting there with my geek brain going, I know this man. Why do I know him? And he was just great. And then I looked it up afterwards. Stargate Atlantis.
That's whoa! So maybe that was Black Panther. No, I'm kidding. That was just the first spinoff, right? That was like the first one.
Yes, that was the first spinoff. Yeah, and actually, I love that show. But and Heyerdahl played a really weird part, who was like a guy who was a human who lived in this weird world, and was always like being attacked. Was always the victim. So the fact that he's playing that part in Trek is kind of like, kind of similar, samey. But he's a great actor, and I do like him.
How did he get typecasted for the future? That's kind of lame.
Is that weird?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
You guess you get typecast for sci-fi stuff, so.
I mean, it can happen.
Sure.
And one of the practical reasons why, let me throw a big bucket of water on the fun here, is because they shoot in Toronto, and they're going to use a lot of actors from Canada, and a lot of great science fiction comes from Canada. So yeah, expect to see people that you've seen in Stargate shows and Dark Matter and all these shows that I love, frankly.
Well, if you get Amy Jo Johnson, I am in there. Best Ranger ever.
She's still acting?
I think so. She was on some Canadian cop show a couple years ago. Flashpoint, I think it was called. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And was that Luke Perry? No, not Luke Perry. The other one from 90210. Brandon? No, the one who played Brandon.
Jason
Priestley. Yeah, he's in that show called Private Eyes, and that's out of Vancouver. But enough about that. Enough about Canadian people, because they're not important. I like the deal with Wen because it did exemplify how it can be very dangerous to protect yourself to the point where you're just paranoid. So the reason why I asked you this, what an analogy it was, because you could sit there and say it's about border countries. You could sit there and say the Paris Accords. You could sit there and say it's a lockdown versus going outside kind of a thing. Like, I think a couple days ago, I was walking the street and I had, because this is 2020, I had a keychain with hand sanitizer on my belt loop. And someone who looked homeless, I can't assume, asked me for hand sanitizer. And I guess I didn't think much of it. But I can imagine that he asked me in such a tone that made me wonder if I was the first person or the second person or the third person that asked. And you're like, well, who would say no to giving someone hand sanitizer, especially now?
You'd be surprised.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to know, where did your minds go for this exchange? That's why I think it makes it cool. It makes this art awesome. You can like interpret our own stories to this situation.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
It's the otherness that really caused the problems here. And by othering Wen and his people, they never understood that this is actually a lost, colony. This is a lost civilization of Earth's. And in order for them to go forward, they're going to have to break their isolationist policy. And they're going to have to reach out and communicate with more humans who are scattered throughout the galaxy now, which is also interesting. Humans are not solely on Earth. They're all over the place now.
And in this situation, you have humans that have probably been cut off from Earth their entire lives. They've never seen Earth.
That one line that Wen has where he says, Earth will turn its back on you, as fast as anything. That hurt. That cuts deep.
That was, the Federation, the Earth turning its back on the Federation.
Why does it cut deep?
Because you want to think that we are the best. That Earth people are what the Federation is all about and what Starfleet is all about. And then to realize how many terrible things Earth people can do. The episode's called People of Earth. They're not hiding it. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the most Star Trek storylines you could ever have.
That's true. I bet like if
Absolutely.
you did the same script in another like tone, people will say, "Oh, it's awesome!" You know, it's so classic Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. Like, what is the big climax of the fight? They talk.
Yeah.
How does it get more Star Trek than that?
And you look at Captain Ndoye, and she's like, "Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be such jerks." I mean, when I first saw the uniform, I was like, "Oh, so it's like Customs and Border meets actual Nazis." Okay,
interesting.
Oh yeah, because the logo was right.
It's all black, and it's the reaction. Everybody in engineering, Stamets is like screaming, "What the hell is this?"
Oh yeah, that was crazy. I mean, there was no warning. They just pop right in and board the ship. Yeah, that was really kind of scary.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. But just to put a button on the episode, the crew got a chance to visit the ground, terra firma, and see. I guess I'm not sure what the new building is now, but at one time it was the
Starfleet Academy.
Starfleet Academy, and everyone had a moment that throughout time and space, one tree survived 1,000 years plus. Apparently, I thought it was pretty cool. Made me choke up a bit. That was when I did it. That's what I held strong. I hodored the entire time. And in the end, I was like, man, a tree.
Again, the magic of the Tilly hug. Tilly hugs the tree. I just saw that in the preview, and I was like, oh, man, I got to see that. That's going to break my heart. It did.
Yeah,
it did.
It was heartbreaking. It was like, and when you see Burnham and Saru on the bridge, and they're looking through the view screen at what used to be Starfleet Academy. It's like looking at a house you lived in years ago, but like they've changed something on the windows.
Right.
It's got a different paint job. The garage is in a different place.
Yeah.
That was painful. That was painful.
It's interesting that because Saru is not from Earth and Burnham was not raised on Earth, that they decided to step back. But I kind of would have wanted to see Burnham walk on Earth. I kind of want to see like, this is my human side, Is that just wishful thinking?
I thought about that, and I thought, she's actually been on a lot of planets. She's gone.
She's gone.
She's gone to a lot of places. Look, I could go home to New Hampshire,
Yeah.
And if somebody said you've got you're catching a flight and you're going to another place, do you want to walk outside in New Hampshire and enjoy New Hampshire? I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Wow. All this New Hampshire shade.
I live in California. I kind of love it.
Live free or die, man. What are you doing?
Actually, I do have a real experience of this because I've never actually been to Chicago. I've been to the Chicago airport a million times to catch other flights, but I've never gone out and enjoyed it, even though I know I would love it. I know it's my kind of town. But yeah, that's just, I'm good. Let the kids go down, have fun, hug a tree. I'm good.
Oh man, I just crazy that I guess for me, I'm from New York, and then I left home at 18. I went to Florida first. I went to Los Angeles, and I'm always in my brain, in my blood. I'm a New Yorker. I mean, you guys can't see here, but I have Mr. Met on my wall. Like I'm all about that. When I go home, and it's like, I haven't been home in like 15 years, and so it's physically New York, but that pizzeria is now a quinoa stand. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Remind me too. Were you Brooklyn?
Yeah, I was Flatland. So Flatbush and Kings Highway, like Kings Plaza side, the 2 train, Brooklyn College. And it's funny because I did my show with Josh about over a year ago, in Greenwich Village, and I've been living in New York my entire life. But to get there, I look at maps. I look at my phone. I got off on the cage. And I was like, I'm from this place. And it's just, I can imagine a year, let alone 900 or whatever. But the Golden Gate Bridge still there. So that's pretty awesome. I thought that would be level by now.
I mean, yeah, they managed to maintain what we knew of the future San Francisco. So that was nice. Yeah, Golden Gate Bridge is still there. That was nice. It's nice to see that stuff, but it is 930 years in the future.
Exactly. You just wonder what's like the rest of Earth society like, as it,
Yeah.
you wonder in that moment, like, is at least something of freedom and democracy still a thing, or has certain elements really gone dark? You just saw that shot of San Francisco. You don't know anything about what it's like.
Yeah, because as you pointed out, Josh, we don't know what what the Academy is being used for now. It could be an M&M store. We don't know.
Yeah.
One minute it's Starfleet Academy, the next it's the 31st century version of Sonic or McDonald's.
We don't know. You gotta park, and you gotta talk on the speaker. Yeah, we don't know.
I'm not sure about you guys, but I would love to see a futuristic M&M store. Like, it's the same product. I just want to see what it would look like. You know what I mean? Because it's Chipotle like Chipotle now.
Holographic M&M dispenser.
Yeah, I have no idea. But it's about a high time to get out of here. But before we do, Josh, any final thoughts and ideas from today's episode of Star Trek Discovery you want to discuss?
I think it's shaping up to be a great season. I think, despite the naysayers, I think it's going to be a great series. And I think it's going to go 4 or 5 more seasons.
It should.
There's so much they could do with it.
It's so important, that show, and I can rant about this all day. I'm not even talking about representation, because Star Trek has always been about that. Like, I can tell because I've been watching the old shows. But what makes Star Trek Discovery so great is that it's a perfect balance of the modern politics of the Federation, or lack of Federation, but with today's sensibilities. Like, we talked about this in old episodes of the show. No one believes in Superman anymore because they think he's too idealistic. Whereas as a kid, that was something to strive towards. Now it's seen as, let's forget it. It's fake. We try something for a month and we say it's fake. Mask, fake. Weight loss, fake. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so it's cool to see that progression. But what about you, John? I'm going to cut you off. Is there anything else you want to add about this episode?
One of the things, and Josh, I don't know if you've experienced this. I know Flobo has. I know I have. No matter where you travel, like if you travel, the world, you will probably end up at some point in front of a TV that has Star Trek on it.
Yes.
True.
And probably Next Generation. That one it just translates to all cultures. So I just love how this one's rolling out slow, because not everybody does have CBS All Access. And it's getting on a Netflix. Apparently in Europe, it's on Netflix. Is this
correct? That's why I found it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix in Europe.
Yeah. So people are seeing it and they're feeling it. They're feeling themselves into it. They're feeling the connection they have to it. And this, I think, is going to be, I wouldn't put it over the original Trek, and I wouldn't put it over Next Generation, but I would say this one is number 3. This one is
I'm putting it definitely over Voyager. That's
honestly, I put Lower Decks before Voyager, but that's just me.
By the way, we should do a Lower Decks recap, because that show grew on me really quick.
That show is great. I'd love to do that with you guys. That show is hilarious.
But we are out of time.
The latecomer. Yeah, I'll have to go binge that.
It's
good.
It's 8 episodes.
Cool.
Yeah. It's like an afternoon tops. But I will say the first episode, I was like, what's this show about? By the end, you're like, Rutherford's my homeboy. Josh, man, where can the world find you online? They want to stalk you, become your friend, book you for shows?
Right now, you can find me on Facebook, my name, or you could find me on Instagram at BigJSH2709. I'm gonna cave and join Twitter. I think I have to.
Yes.
I especially to have fun with you guys. Especially have fun with you two.
Hey, why not, man?
Come on over, Josh.
Yeah, join us.
I will join the Twitter.
And of course, my captain, John Weber, I want to stalk you and check up all your accounts. How do I do that on the USS Recap?
At Hello John Weber works for Instagram. It also works for Twitter. And a friend of mine just told me that he's got a new platform that he's using, and it's very exciting. Maybe by next week I'll have by next week I'll have a live 365 radio station.
Oh yes, man! Yo,
I've
dude,
heard of this.
So
It's
glad
still around.
I'm going to be starting 2 podcasts. One is going to be just me and a friend bullshitting and horsing around and being really disturbing. It's like my alter ego. He's worse than me. I talked about him.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll be the normal one. That's exciting.
Actually, yeah, I'll be the normal one. He's worse. The other will be something I'm calling Conversations with the Handlebar, because,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Much
Totally
respect.
jealous.
So I have to figure out what platform to use for both, and then I'll get it going.
So you're less disturbing with the Handlebar Show? Is that what?
Yeah, because I'll actually be snarky, but not out of my mind with my buddy. Oh God, strap in. This would scare Giorgio. She'd pull the both of us and be like, "You two need to shrink."
Yeah, I was about to say we got to get you guys to the ship's counselor. Is what I'm thinking.
We'll be back here next week with more stuff for Commandos Log. My name is Flobo Boyce. You can follow me on Twitter at Flobo Boyce or at Instagram at Flopito. Oh, if you want to know all the shows I'm working on, all the shows I'm a host of, newamsterdam.com. That's KNEW Amsterdam.com. We're talking wrestling coverage, Star Trek coverage, and I have his late night talk show that even John Weber was on, where I get to ask him questions at a very, very ungodly hour. But until next time, live long and prosper.
I can't
Hey, man.